What's up everyone? Video today on upper lower training. The one we've been waiting for. This is, I was being excited about making this one as well. I was writing everything down, and again, I know it's gonna be a banger of a video that's gonna help a lot of people out. So what I would do before you start watching this one, make sure you've watched the previous one on full body training and the first video about designing a training program. If you watch those two, this begins to make more sense. So it would make sense to go through them in order. So if you watch the full body one, which was last week's video, this begins to make a lot more sense, right? You also might want to take some notes down on this one because there's a fair bit to get through. Upper lower, a lot of people think it's simplistic, which it is, but there are so many different variations and ways you can go about it, depending on how we design it and we structure it to your specific needs. There's so much that you can change with an upper lower. So let's get into the fundamentals of an upper lower. Who is it for? Who's going to get a lot out of an upper lower training split? Now, again, if you watch the full body video, which I need you to go back and watch, you will know with full body, we were leveraging training frequency. Now with a full body training split, if we go back and you watch that video, we see a lot of the sets are only 1 to 2 sets for a muscle group in a given session. The needs to cause an adaptive response with full body are so low. You can get away with 1 to 2 sets because then you're back in again 2 days later to hit the muscle again. Eventually with a full body, you're going to stall out. You're going to need more sets per muscle group in a session because to progress a full body session, your upper body lifts, as an example, at the start of a session, they may progress, but then maybe your lower body lifts, they start to flag at the end of a session, or vice versa. If your lower body lifts at the start of a full body session, they're on the rise, but then upper body takes a hit. That's when you know that you've got to a point that you're too strong for full body. You can't progress on that anymore. Hence, that's when an upper lower, as an example, comes in, because we take full body and we basically split it up into upper lower. So now you go from full body, only having 1 to 2 sets per muscle group in a session. That's all you need to cause an adaptive response. Now you need a little bit more directed focus on both upper and lower in each session, hence upper lower. So we split everything up. Now, as we know, the lower body sessions, we've got quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves, adductors if you want to throw that in. Upper body, we can go to town on upper body. All of your pressing musculature, your chest, your delts, triceps, back, lats, upper back, traps, rear delts, and then we've got biceps. So you can see there's a lot to get through in an upper body session. So let's go over about how we can program lower, upper, upper, lower. Again, there's so much variation that we can do. So with the example I've got here, let's say you're someone who really needs to bring up legs, right? You will benefit from starting your week with legs when you're fresh. If you have a rest day of a Sunday and then you come in on Monday, you want to hit your weak link first. So let's say that's legs. That could be upper body for you, but again, let's say we start with legs on your first lower session of the week. Now with leg training in an upper lower split, again, there's many ways you can do this. In the first lower session of the week, you could make that quad biased, where you will come in fresh and hit your quad work. And then the second rotation of the leg session in the week could be hamstring and glute focused. So maybe a posterior chain focused day where you start with your posterior chain. That is a nice way you could do it. Again, you could be someone who has really, very strong quads, but very, very weak hamstrings and glutes. So maybe both of your leg days actually need to start with hamstrings and glutes. That's another example of how there is no one size fits all with this. It all does depend on your specific needs and what you need to step forward. But let's just go to a general overview in terms of volume parameters, a couple of rep ranges, and how we can go about a lower upper split. So let's say lower A. Let's say we're making this a quad bias day. So we start off hack squat, again, 2 sets. You have a heavier set of 6 to 8. And then a set of 10 to 12. There's nothing fancy about these rep ranges. I don't want people to get caught up in this. As long as we're taking these sets to failure, that is the main thing. Pay close attention to the set numbers, the volume parameters, that's important, but the rep range, that's just there as an example. So with hack squat, A heavy set, 6 to 8, and a back off set. There's 2 sets for hack squat. You then go into a leg press, same principle, heavier set, then a back off set. There's 4 sets for quad, done and dusted. Now, if you take those 4 sets, like to all out failure, you can't do another rep. You are not going to need more than 4 sets in a session there for quads. You are going to be good to go, right? Then we get into our hip hinge of the day. So we're going to do a paused RDL, just one set of 6 to 8. Seated leg curl, 2 sets, again 2 sets of 10 to 15. So there's your hamstring work boxed off for that session. 3 sets of hamstring, that's all you will need, right? Then you'll get into a Bulgarian split squat, just 1 set. That will be a tie-in between glute and you will pull in a little bit of quad, depending on how you do it. And then you go toe press for calves, cable crunch for abs. Now, that is a total of 12 sets for a lower body day. A lot of people look at that and think, that's not a lot of work. It is a lot of work when you push it all the way there and you're taking all your sets where they need to go. Because don't forget, you are going to be back in 3 days later again on Thursday. This is Monday. You're back in again 3 days later to smoke legs again. So you need to go through stimulus recovery adaptation. You can handle a little bit more work than full body, but you don't absolutely beat yourself into the ground so then you can't recover for here. So there's a fine balance that you have to play. Quads do well around 4 sets, give or take. Hamstrings are definitely a muscle group that you don't want to do too much volume in a session for because it will impede your ability to come back here and progress your lifts. Around 2 to 3 sets of directed wear for hamstring on an upper lower split tends to be a max, especially if you're pushing your sets all the way there, especially with movements like an RDL and a seated leg curl, which are really going to bias the length and range where your hamstrings are fully stretched. 3 sets is going to be more than enough. That's an upper limit, especially if you're pushing those sets. Right, so that's lower day 1. Now let's get into an example of an upper session. So let's just throw a curveball right out the gate. Everybody thinks with upper body training, you have to start with some sort of big meaty compound like a chest press or a pull-up. Let's just throw a curveball out there. What about if you've got weaker biceps and you really need to bring up your biceps? You don't need to tag them at the end of a session. Why not just do them first? Preacher curl, bang, right in, 3 sets of preacher curl, directed bicep work when you're fresh. That's a common complaint of upper lower splits. People say that you don't have enough isolation work or the smaller muscles can get neglected. Not if you're smart in your programming. There's multiple ways you can go about it. So let's say we put a preacher curl first, bang, biceps, sorted, first exercise of the day, right? Then we get into a flat Smith bench or Smith machine bench press, whatever you want to call it. Then weighted dip. Now, here's the important thing. Don't forget about crossover stimulus. When we talk about chest, shoulders, triceps, every press that you do is going to pull in all of those areas to a varying degree. A flat Smith press, you're going to get a lot of chest. You also are going to get a little bit of delt. You're also going to get some tricep. Same with a weighted dip. Yes, that is primarily like a tricep compound. You're going to absolutely smoke the triceps. You're also going to hit the chest and the shoulders. So that's 4 sets of presses, okay? Again, same principle as we were talking about with the quads and the hamstring. 4 sets of presses is around the upper end of what you're going to need to go through stimulus recovery adaptation and then come back here on Saturday again and progress lifts again. If you overcook your pressing volume here and you start doing maybe 7, 8 sets of presses, you're then going to struggle to come back in here and progress these. And that's what it's all about. We're trying to get on a run of progression. So 4 sets, presses, good to go, right? Cable lateral, again, just some sort of isolated medial delt work. You could even put that at the front end of the session. You could do your bicep curl first, then your medial delt raises, and then get into the big compound stuff. Multiple ways that you can do it. Again, depends on your weaknesses and what you need. Then we will get into our back bias movements. Now we split our back movements into lat biased and then upper back. So a chin up, again, we do 2 sets. That's the lat bias movements. Chest supported T-bar, again, upper back bias movements. And then you'll get off and you'll finish off with your tricep isolation movement, which is an EZ bar push down. So everything is getting stimulated, then you're back again 3 to 4 days later. Okay? It's all about getting on a run with things and progressing our lifts. But we want to go through again, go back to the full body video. We're trying to get on a run of progressing our lifts and letting things go through stimulus, recovery, adaptation. It's not just about what we can do in these sessions, about what can we do here, cause an adaptive response, and then come back again a few days later and progress things. We want to get on a run with things, okay? That's the big key. That's why we have multiple different variations of these sessions. Lower A is not the same as lower B. Upper A is not the same as upper B. They're all slightly different. And you can change the exercise ordering depending on, again, what your needs are and what you need to progress, right? But that is the big benefit of upper-lower training. You get to leverage training frequency to your advantage, but you also can handle a little bit more directed work now in a session for both the upper and the lower body, so we split it up, right? So, just a final point, another good programming tip when it comes to programming upper-lower. You'll see here, there's 2 rotations in the week. You have a lower A, a upper A, a lower B, and an upper B, right? That's a bog standard way to run upper-lower. And that'll be fine for a lot of people. You can run that for a long time. Here's another game-changing tip that can help at some point. Super simple. You can throw in a 3rd rotation. So you can add in a lower C and a upper C. So the way that would work, if that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, when you come back in on Monday, we have this as lower C, and then Tuesday will be upper C. Now this C, or 3rd session, it will be a completely different rotation of lifts than here. So as an example, this could be a barbell back squat, a different style of leg press, a stiff leg deadlift, a single leg seated hamstring curl, a front foot elevated reverse lunge, a different calf exercise and a different ab exercise. So you go through the same muscles, but use different movements. Same here, you use different movements. Now, what's the benefit of adding in a 3rd rotation? Again, it gives you another avenue of progression, so you don't stall out on these lifts as fast. If we have 3 rotations, it just gives the body another opportunity to come back and get on a run with things and build momentum with our lift progressions, because that is what it's all about. It's about going through stimulus, recovery, adaptation, getting on a run with our lifts and progressing everything. Now, if you have 3 rotations of these running at the same time and you're running that for a year and you keep progressing lifts like this, you're going to grow a fuckload of muscle tissue. It's as simple as that. And you're going through you're getting enough frequency, everything is getting hit, and then you're just going to grow like a weed, especially when it's set up correctly and you're implementing everything the way it should be. Now, in terms of total volume for the sessions, have a little look. These are sort of the upper ends of the volume. You don't want to go too much more than this. Like, you've got 12 sets for a leg session, 17 sets for an upper, 13 for a lower here, and then again another 17 here. If you start pushing past that, you're going to struggle to recover and you're going to mess up the whole process of running an upper-lower split and getting on a run of stimulus, recovery, adaptation. When you're taking all these sets to failure, that's why it's a perfect sweet spot for total volume and set numbers in a session. So vitally important to look at this. Everything's a failure, or to the point that you can't do another good rep with good technique. We want to get on a run and progress our lifts with good form. That's the key. Progress with good form. That's a caveat. If you're progressing with shit technique and we're just letting momentum take over, that's not progressive tension overload. You've got to progress with standardized technique. And if you get on a run with all this stuff, you're going to be good to go. Upper lower, man, great split. Can work for a lot of people. At some point, people may need even more directed work than this. Now, you're talking like pro bodybuilders here. They can benefit from push-pull legs, going on to bro splits, because they may need more than, again, if you go to an upper session, chin up, chest supported row, they may need potentially a total of 8 to 10 sets for back. They may need 4 upper back bias movements or 4 upper back directed sets, and then maybe 6 lat movements. That's what someone at a pro level might need to cause an adaptive response. A lot of people watching this video, we don't have to worry about that. Upper lower is a great split for a lot of people, and you can really get on a good run and build a lot of muscle tissue with this if you do it correctly. All right, so next couple of videos is going to be, we're going to talk about, we can have a hybrid of upper lower push-pull legs. You can hybrid those together. And then I'm also going to get into push-pull legs and how we can rotate that and how we can work that. And just for maybe some people who need a little bit more work in a directed session. than upper lower. But yeah, hopefully all makes sense. Everybody let me know what you think of the video down below. Any questions you do have on any of this stuff, just drop it below and I'm happy to answer anything in the comments. So yeah, let me know and I'll look out for the video again next week. I'll speak to you all soon.